I am Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have Scott Shapiro, the Senior Director of Product Management at Coinbase. Scott, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Excited to dive into so much that you've done with Coinbase and what's happening right now, what's happening in the future. But I'd love to kick off our conversation by first of all just hearing a little bit about yourself, your lengthy history in Web 2 and how that led to getting into Coinbase, and then we'll dive into everything.
Sounds good. So about me, I'm a product leader at Coinbase on our retail product. So that's like the Coinbase app, the blue app that's in the app stores, and Coinbase.com. It's the product that I used when I first started crypto in 2013 as an individual, and I've been excited to be a part of the company, building products for other people who use crypto around the world for almost 4 years now. I joined in 2019. Before that, I spent a decade working at Facebook and Google, mostly on advertising, marketing, analytics products. And so from that, I learned a lot about how large tech companies operate, how they grow, and a ton about the world of marketing and advertising. But I had this kind of brewing passion about crypto since 2013, and seeing the booms and bust cycles and getting into DeFi and dApps in 2018, I just kind of had this urge to break into crypto full time as a career, as opposed to just waiting on the sidelines and kind of spending more time in large tech companies and watching crypto. And so I just kind of decided that I needed to make this a career switch, and 2019 is when it became official, and I've had a great time Coinbase ever since.
That's amazing, and what better way to do it than to get into Coinbase, the first app that got you into crypto. It's very cool, and now you're heading all these cool products at Coinbase with a big team, and so I know I saw a little bit of the list on what you and your team have built on just the 4 years that you've been there. It sounds like you've revolutionized the application, and I'm guessing you have, some of the innovations of what you're seeing in DeFi in the future. There's still going to be more to come, I'm sure, with Coinbase. But maybe you can talk about some of the highlights of what you and your team have accomplished so far, or what you're most proud of at your term at Coinbase so far.
Yeah, I think really changing Coinbase from being this very simple application with a couple assets that you could trade. I think when I joined, we had fewer than 20 total assets that you could trade, and there wasn't a lot to do with those assets. You could buy, sell, and convert, basically. We at the time had learning rewards. We called it Earn back then, and that was a way to it kind of incentivize education around crypto, which was like a great way to get people to branch out beyond kind of the majors of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But that was basically it. And so, back 4 years ago, we said, how can we make crypto more useful? How can we help people's financial lives improve beyond just kind of these basics? And so we started looking at different types of products like saving and earning rewards, and now USDC, which has become a huge part of our business, is now one of our primary value propositions, and one of the things that people who use Coinbase like a ton. And so I was privileged to be a part of the launch of that when we first launched USDC rewards in 2019. Same with staking. Staking is a huge part of our business. Tezos was the first asset that we launched staking on. ETH at the time in 2019 had talked about it a little bit. It was like on the long-term roadmap. Took 2 years really till 2021 for ETH staking to actually become real. And so that was a very cool journey to be a part of that growth. And there's been several other assets that we've added for staking as well. And then when you think about trading, which is where I've spent a lot of my time, we have had an exchange for a long time, and we've had a very simple way to trade crypto for a long time. And so where we've kind of pivoted, most of what I spend my time on is around growing what active traders can do with Coinbase. And so you have this kind of foundational set of financial services that we've offered. Coinbase Card's another one, right? If you want to be able to spend crypto with just a swipe, but also catering to more niche behaviors that a lot of power users are using all over the world in trading.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And I remember back in the day as well, I know I got involved at a similar time when you did, and people would always ask me, I need something that's dead simple. Like, I don't want to have to learn all these extra details. And Coinbase was the go-to. It's just like, you want simple, you want easy, just buy, sell. That's like, before all these other products were built out, and the blockchain industry didn't even have DeFi and all this other stuff. It was just like, just go to Coinbase and press buy. It was very simple. But now with all of the interest and institutional interest as well, there's a lot more people that need advanced functionality, and day traders, people from TradFi that are moving over. And from what I understand, Coinbase has the advanced trading, which has a lot more of that kind of functionality for people that are looking to just do more than just press buy. And I know that's one of your guys' flagship products. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on the advanced trading and your focus that you've had on it.
Yeah, so advanced trade, you can get there if you go to advanced.coinbase.com. It's a new URL subdomain that we recently launched. And the goal there is to really offer everything that advanced traders need. So everything from discovering assets, being able to look at a list and figure out what do I want to trade, to then understanding, is it the right time to make a trade on that asset through different types of charting. We have a trading view integration with over 100 different types of indicators, and you can draw on end state charts and save those settings so that they apply to all the trading that you're doing and all the different types of order books that we offer, to then being able to look at things like trade history and the live order book that's streaming data from our exchange in real time. And then obviously placing trades. And we have several different ways to place trades and several different options of being able to fund trades in different ways and configure trades. And then after you trade, now let's look at the history of all those trades and be able to understand what was my cost basis and what did I sell those crypto assets for, and that kind of full closed loop. So that's what we're really focused on there. And a big part of that is being part of the full Coinbase experience. And so all of your balances are in one place, all of your payment methods. So you link a bank account or a debit card or PayPal or whatever you use to fund your account. That's all in one place. And so you can easily go from managing your staking assets to trading with just a couple of clicks, as opposed to having to open a separate app or go to a different type of product altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine as the blockchain industry continues to grow out, there's just more and more different functions of different things that you could possibly do with trading, investing, staking, and you have to manage the product. How do you balance not having, you want to be able to see it all in one great picture, but eventually there's going to be 100 different functionalities that you can do in crypto, and it can be overwhelming, especially for people that are just sort of at the beginning and they only want a handful of functions.
For sure. That's it's a fun challenge of being a product manager in a tech company, and we have a great team of designers and engineers, right? And thinking about we're serving such a huge audience, right? We have, to your point, people who are maybe never have invested in anything before, have never done stock or other types of investing. And they're just showing up with, a little bit of funds, and they want to get started with crypto. And they have other people who have, had professional careers, maybe working in investment banks, doing, large scale trading, and kind of know everything. And we have to serve all of them. And so figuring out how do we help people get into the Coinbase experience and then find their way to the thing that is right for them is, a tricky navigational challenge, but something that we're really focused on, continuing to improve over time too.
Definitely. And I feel like with more so on these advanced traders or people that are looking for innovative solutions, they're also looking at what's coming out right away for new coins or new investments. Some of these people are diving into decentralized exchanges for things that haven't been listed. Sometimes projects don't get listed on Coinbase or whatever on day one, but there's also the decentralized options. And there's been that sort of balance of centralized trading versus decentralized trading, the trade-offs between both of them. From what I understand, Coinbase is one of the best centralized exchanges, but it also is possible to do decentralized trading through Coinbase in a way. Can you touch on that balance?
Yeah, so we describe what we do as largely centralized exchange trading, Coinbase Exchange. We also have integrations with decentralized exchanges through Coinbase Wallet and through the Web3 wallet and the Coinbase app. And so we want to bring all the power of decentralized applications, dApps, decentralized finance, through all of the products that we're offering to people. Even in our institutional grade products, we do have some Web3 functionality as well. So it's not just individual investors or individual users that we're offering this to. And so right now you can go to Coinbase Wallet and you can trade your ETH for tons of different assets that exist on decentralized exchanges. What we do is figure out how can we most efficiently route your trade through these DEXs and get you the best execution. And we do that through our Web3 wallet as well. in a very simple user interface. We've tried to design this in a way that is like as straightforward and intuitive as the standard trading in the Coinbase app. So I think there's a lot to learn there. It's something we're watching very closely. I think long term, the transparency that DEXs bring is fantastic. Question is, when will the latency and throughput get to a place where it is on par with what we see in centralized exchanges, right? Which is extremely high throughput, extremely low latency, and at some point, maybe it's a couple years, maybe it's a couple decades. It's unclear. At some point, we'll probably see those things cross over, but it's still very early days. And I think DEXs are 5 years old total, and so it's still very early.
Definitely, and yeah, it's hard to compare to the speed and the costs of trading on a major centralized exchange like Coinbase. I feel like the innovations in blockchain with scaling solutions, layer 3 modular blockchains I've been hearing a lot of discussion about this past month are supposed to be solving some of these scaling solutions. Hopefully that sort of plays into moving that into decentralized exchanges. I feel like with the decentralized exchanges, some people really prefer it because of the non-custodial part of it, and what they've seen with other exchanges in 2022 and in years prior as well is vulnerabilities here and there where people losing their funds or access to their funds, and hoping that if they have their own wallet and they're trading on a decentralized exchange, they always have access to their funds. And if something happens, it's their own fault. So at least they don't have somebody else to blame. With the Coinbase wallet, moving on the DEXs, is that the same? It's a non-custodial wallet where they have access to the funds. They don't have to trade on a centralized exchange. They can just have their own keys and trade on Uniswap or whatever decentralized exchange that they want?
Yes. So Coinbase Wallet is self-custodial, and you own the keys. You're using a segregated address that is just for you. It's not pooled or commingled with anybody else. And you're right that that trustlessness that decentralized exchanges offer is beautiful. However, it comes at a cost. Right? Like transaction fees, gas fees, congestion can get really high. We've also seen lots of attacks in DeFi just because, again, like the technical understanding of how all these protocols work and how to build them in a bulletproof way is still very new. There's even, earlier this week, there was like a large attack on a, very prominent DEX that I don't think anybody had expected after, 4 years of like really great experiences on that DEX, or maybe 3 years, I guess. And so it's these trade-offs where trusted systems, and I would describe centralized exchanges as trusted systems, they have varying degrees of transparency and varying degrees of kind of bona fide licensing and security and everything else. But there is a level of trust and transparency that DEXs have in a different way that is like very, very unique. And so ideally we get to a place where like all the things can happen at once and you're not making these trade-offs and choosing a centralized, trusted party versus a decentralized trustless party that is potentially more attackable or more ruggable than a centralized exchange, but also has the same throughput and low latency and everything else.
Great insights, Scott. And one thing that I've talked to a few wallets recently, and it seems like everyone's going to need a wallet, whether they're on a centralized exchange or they just have funds on their phone or cold storage, you need a wallet. And I feel like having a good wallet is the key to bringing in, the next 100 million users. And some of these wallets have just been released and they sort of market to direct to consumer or to other people that are already involved in Web3 that are just like, hey, we have better this than the other wallet. It doesn't really expand out to people that haven't got into crypto yet, which is 99% of the world. I'm curious on the Coinbase wallet and looking at making partnerships or integrations with Web 2 companies or enterprises or people that aren't already involved in Web 3 in other ways that we can get more people involved into Web 3 through the wallet.
Yeah, there's something really cool that we're working on as a company, a little bit outside my wheelhouse, but maybe like a really cool follow-up interview, Ashton, if you're interested, is Wallet as a Service, which is something that our cloud team is doing. It's part of Coinbase Cloud. And if you go to Coinbase Cloud website, it's featured very prominently. It's very cool. But what you can do, similar to like AWS, is we have all these blockchain services that other enterprises can leverage and then expand on top of. And so you can imagine like wallets everywhere in lots of things that have historically been seen as Web 2, because they're using wallet as a service as a building block to power all of that custody and self-custody, but like key management and everything else that would normally be very tricky to do, full stack on your own. So that's one vision we've had, and I think it would be a really interesting follow-up. I would listen to that interview if you just want to
let's coordinate it. Definitely, I feel like the wallets are going to be a key to getting tens or hundreds of millions of people involved, and if not, the Bitcoin price back on Coinbase when they see, hey, it's getting people interested again. And it's funny how we see, when the Bitcoin's been going sideways for about a month, and it's actually the lowest trading volume in the last 3 years, which I think might be a significant move in the future. But it's interesting for exchanges, and Coinbase has been around for many cycles, balancing when there's the hype cycle, and then sort of maintaining. It's more for smaller exchanges. Coinbase has so much use in other functions that they don't have to worry about bear markets, but it is tough for exchanges that are starting or people that are trying to provide crypto services when the market is fairly small. I feel like having a breakthrough wallet with 100 million users would be a great way to be able to have more support for crypto companies when Bitcoin's turning sideways, or when people don't care about the price and they just look at the fundamentals of the coin. Now, Scott, there's one other thing that I saw that you did work on, which I want to talk about as well, which I think is very cool. It's another thing that people ask me about when they're just getting involved in crypto and they're sort of familiar with the physicalness of fiat currency or credit cards and cash, is the Coinbase card, which is a physical or digital card as well. I know you worked on that. Can you talk about the Coinbase card and sort of what you worked on and how that works around the world?
Yeah, totally. So Coinbase card was something that started working on about 4 years ago, and was the first, hardware product I've ever worked on in my career. So that was a fun change from only ever working on pure software, because it's really the combination of the physical plastic with the chip and the software that makes it such a unique value prop. So the reason we started working on that was we noticed that a lot of people would sell crypto, withdraw cash, and we'd ask them, we did our research, and we said, what is the reason you're doing this? And they said, well, I have bills to pay. I need to free up some cash. I need liquidity. And then I'm going to go transfer that to my bank account, wait for it to settle, use it on my bank debit card, or maybe my credit card. Maybe I'll, Zelle somebody from my bank account. And we said, well, we can short circuit that a ton. So instead of having to actively go sell your crypto and then actively go make that transfer and then wait for it to settle and then go use another payment method, we can just give you a piece of plastic or a digital card. It works with Apple Pay very nicely. Google Pay as well. So you can just swipe and choose which wallet you want to spend from, and then also choose which reward you want to get compensated in. And so we've had different reward profiles over the years. The other thing that's beautiful about it too, and this also relates to trading, is because a lot of we've seen such huge adoption of USDC over the last 4 years. We've provided or been able to provide a lot of incentives, and so we can let you put USDC in your Coinbase wallet or your Coinbase account, and you can earn rewards on that. I think right now we're paying up to 4.6% to most users. That just sits there. If you want to spend, then you also can spend from that wallet and then get rewards each time you spend in different currencies. You can choose. And also, if you want to trade, and this is where I put a lot of emphasis, you can use USDC globally, no matter where you are, whether you have USD or not, to trade on all of our USD order books. So accessing all the liquidity that US users have from anywhere in the world, while it's earning 4.6%. And the kicker that's maybe more interesting for traders than other folks who aren't trading much is that when that USDC is sitting on an order book, so you want to buy $100 of Bitcoin, you place a limit order for $100, and maybe you want to buy the dip, so you set a low limit price, it's still earning 4.6%, even while it's resting on the order book. And then at some point, maybe that order will fill, it turns into Bitcoin. Now you're not earning any yield, any rewards on that USDC anymore, because now you have Bitcoin. But it's a really interesting kind of ecosystem that we've been able to develop around USDC that covers trading, spending, and saving.
That's amazing. Yeah, to be able to earn rewards while you have your limit orders in to buy the dip. I don't know how you could beat that. And I'm curious with the traction on the physical cards, do you see like a lot of, I guess for paying bills, that makes the most sense. But is it a pretty important product in sort of the list of people that are having accounts on Coinbase?
I'm not as close to our payments products anymore. I would say overall that payments is a very big part of our focus and just allowing people to do more, to move funds in and out through a variety of methods. I think Coinbase Card is like one good way that funds go out. And it's, part of a bigger strategy overall around enabling payments. And we've seen, both on-chain, right, sending to another crypto address, and off-chain payments, grow in different ways over the years, and something that we continue to work hard on.
Very cool.
It's something that as someone who works on trading, right, I depend on payments to work really well, because you can't trade if you're not able to move funds in and out as well. So we have a really good collaboration on that.
For sure, yeah. Every millisecond makes a difference, and you can't be waiting for 10 Bitcoin confirmations to pay your coffee either. So speed and cost is definitely a major factor. So it's good to hear. And that Bitcoin's been moving sideways, and there's not a lot of active interest from people that are not already involved in the space. I know that there's definitely more than in the previous years, but I'm sure that you and your team are still working heads down every day on these products and new products. What else can you say about sort of what you're working on right now that it's already out, or it's just coming down the hatch?
Yeah, as Brian would say, like bear markets or sideways markets, Brian, our founder CEO, he would say that this is the time to build, right? When everybody does want to buy and trade, and everyone's rushing to sign up for Coinbase, and it thinks crypto is the be all end all, then we're just kind of fortifying and holding things together and making sure that we stay up and can serve our users. When that's not happening, and this is a slower period, as you mentioned, around exchange volumes and everything. Now it's time to do all the new cool stuff that will then be available to people when they open their eyes and there's a rush to crypto. So I think overall at the company, the big focus is really around building really good, powerful ways to use crypto for the next billion users. I play a role in that through trading, and we're doing a lot for advanced traders in just enriching the ways that you can learn about different types of crypto assets, trade more crypto assets. We can't obviously disclose what's going to be available for trading in the future. That's very confidential, sensitive information. But we're always focused on providing people what we believe are assets that are compliant and everything else. New more powerful ways to trade those types of assets. So additional types of orders and configuration, and reducing latency, increasing performance, just making it a much better user experience end to end overall is really a big part of our focus. I mentioned what we're doing with USDC. We've just recently expanded that globally, and now we want to make it more discoverable and more intuitive for people to access. And it's kind of a mind-melding thing. It's not as obvious up front, the power of what it can do. We're kind of doing this at every level of our product suite, not just kind of in the depths of active trading.
Very cool. And if there were, when you and your team release a product update or a new listing or some kind of breaking news from Coinbase, what's the best way to stay on top of the news, to sort of hear it right away, whether you're a trader or you're just interested in what's upcoming?
Yeah, so our Coinbase Twitter handle is probably the best place for kind of broad company news. Our Coinbase blog is also a really good place to kind of read more in depth. Right, we still keep our tweets pretty short, even though I think now tweets can be longer. I also try to tweet as much as I can. I try to kind of do a monthly recap of stuff that we did. That's often kind of more niche stuff. It's the stuff that makes people the most happy, but applies to the fewest number of people. So, we've recently made some tweaks so that you can work on your charting and then have your charting settings persist across sessions as opposed to having to redo that. And so people who love drawing on charts love that feature, but a lot of people who don't draw at all like won't even know that we did that. And that's not something that we would say on the Coinbase handle overall. So I'll talk a lot more about that kind of stuff on my Twitter. It's just Scott Shapiro, one word. I have a PFP that from Pixel Portraits, so hopefully I look like that. People can recognize me.
Amazing. And you know what? I agree. Some of those functions, they actually are very important, especially for traders. You don't want to have to redraw your lines every day. So I'm going to make sure that I'm following you personally on Twitter. I'm going to put your Twitter handle in the description box below as well, and the Coinbase handle and the Coinbase blog that you mentioned, and any other links that might be important that we'll get from the team. I really appreciate all the insights, Scott, into what you and your team are working on and everything you've done so far at Coinbase. And let's definitely follow up in the near future.
Sounds great.